Everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. You're in the kitchen with KK. This is our pre-Easter session. I've been doing a lot of amazing salads recently. And once we jump into spring, we said adios to winter. We're jumping into spring. Spring wants you to be more active. It wants you to have more raw foods, more greens. But today I'm giving you an alternative for muffins. I've done many in the past. My cookbook has several. I have clients that I make them every single week because we're wanting treats, but we need those treats to be productive, to trick our mind into thinking that we were rewarded. That's our dopamine need, but that it gives our body full on good, stable energy, lots of fiber, lots of plant-rich protein. So, yay, right? Well, it is liver season. We've been talking about that. I am the author of Simple Cooking for Vitality. This is a bioenergetic cookbook, the method. But what it does is it helps you to look at food in a whole different way with reverence and the power that it has over your body. It's split up by different organs. It's really fantastic. I am really proud of this book. So the liver section, this beautiful carrot salad. So we're making carrot cake muffins. All right. Just carrot cake makes you go, oh, yummy, right? Carrot cake is so sweet. I've made it the traditional way since I was young with a very sweet cream cheese frosting. That is a inflammation bomb waiting to happen. Now, I have so many clients that have inflammatory diseases. They have autoimmune diseases. And let you know that cancer is a metabolic disease, right? We've got over 90% of the people with broken metabolic systems, and type 2 diabetes is your responsibility. It's if we're wrecking our insulin, becoming insulin resistant, it's what we're doing, and it can be reversed, right? So we just need alternatives, and I really love doing that. So here's a carrot cake recipe. I made this my carrot cake recipe, not this one, a different one. This is more paleo with a lot of eggs. I've cut out all the eggs though, especially for people that have a lot of autoimmune. So we're making something super different and new today. And getting to the root cause of disease means you're looking at your diet and lifestyle. That is where it's controlled. This is where we are going to clean up the sick care system in your own kitchen. And this is the traditional way that I make these muffins and I've had a recipe on my channel, the banana, not one, adding loads of blueberries to it. So we're getting sweets in different areas. Get out your spring aprons. April Cornell is really great for that. I do love her aprons. We're going to be sweetening it up with raisins, okay? Most kids love raisins because they're sweet. Dried fruits, you want to go light on that. We're going to keep the bananas in there. Now, these bananas are not ripe. They're filled with inulin. Inulin is a fiber that feeds your gut microbiome, breaks down much slower. We're going to load this up with delicious spices, not just cinnamon. We're going to get a little wild here. And we've got at least 2.5 cups of carrots, 2 large carrots, and this is fine shredded. So you've seen me use my food processor. Here's another way you can fine shred carrots, unless you really like to use the old box shredder. I grew up with that, so I know. But in seconds, you can have shredded carrots. So we're doing this really easy. The base part of this for the protein and for the fiber is going to be ground flaxseed, ground pumpkin seed. Now, you know I keep these in jars. So this is a great way to integrate them. If you don't have ground pumpkin seed, you can up the flaxseed, but I encourage you to, because just 1/4 cup of ground raw pumpkin seeds adds in 10 grams of easy to digest alkaline amino acids, right? Everyone's talking about protein today, but protein that is not broken down, especially animal protein, not only is acidic, it's drawing a lot of pressure to your gallbladder, your liver, and your kidneys. So we do need to go a little lighter, even if you're an O blood type. This is the only oats that I buy. You can get them on Thrive Market. You can get them just about everywhere. Sprouts, Whole Foods, of course. So this is certified glyphosate and gluten-free. Not all of them are, and we need that. It's the glyphosate that is causing the breaking in the tight junctures of our gut lining. So that lining is allowing things into the bloodstream, contributing to all of the autoimmune symptoms we're having. So first up, this is what we do. And all you need is simple things. You need a deep bowl, a quarter cup measure, a little spatula, and some little teaspoon. So the first thing, while this is dry, before we add the bananas, we're going to break down a cup and a half of the oats. So I've already got a cup measured out here. So let's get that in. I keep this measuring tool in my jar. It is a quarter cup. That way I don't need to get out something new. And I'm using these a lot. I'm making these muffins often for my clients, for myself to have. It is one of the best grab and goes. If you need feel like you need a dessert, it's going to fill you up. And that's the whole thing with fiber. It grabs on, it makes you feel full, grabs onto toxins, and it helps to deliver things out of the body. I'm using a NutriBullet RX here. It's got 1600 watts of power. What I like about this for doing some of my recipes, and I have a Vitamix that I make big batches of green smoothies in, is that you put it on and you turn it over. So it's easy to get the stuff out. All right, so let's just do this for a few seconds. If you counted, that may have been 8 seconds. So very quickly, we're breaking it down. Don't waste your money on oat powder, oat flour. You don't know if it's really gluten and glyphosate free. You don't know how long it's been ground up. So you only need one. That is, these are rolled sprouted oats. Sprouted oats are also better for the body. Anything sprouted, the amino acids have been perfected. It's easier on the gut digestion, like sprouted lentils and sprouted quinoa. Next up, we're going to be making a whip with the bananas. Now you can see these bananas are still on the greener side. Let's get this out of the way. And yeah, we don't want them too ripe. You don't want the taste of banana in your muffins. You just want to utilize the very productive inulin fiber, the extra potassium, the lots of fiber. Bananas are fantastic. Of course, when they ripen and get brown, they get very sweet. So they go from being inulin fiber to a lot of sugar. Bananas are not, they are your friend, used properly. So you can tell this is really green. So yeah, we're not adding any sugar to this. You're going to get pops of sweet right where you need them. And that's all you need in this recipe. Because basically people love muffins, but it's just, it's a disaster for your insulin and for whatever you're trying to accomplish as far as your weight goals, your inflammation goals. All right, so we're putting in 4. And what I do though is I add the almond milk to this. So we need, because we're putting in the applesauce, we're just going to put in 1/3 of a cup here. And then we're going to add some of the flaxseed to this. So I also keep a little scoop in here. This is about 2 tablespoons. So we add this to this, stir this around. We're going to let that get thick. We're going to add it to the bananas. Super easy. And then we'll add more dry stuff. Let's let that sit and we'll add more dry stuff to this. So now, instead of using the baking powder, 1 teaspoon I generally use, we're going to use a 1/2 teaspoon, which is, I just don't like the taste of too much baking powder. So I'm using baking soda here. We want a heaping 1/2 teaspoon. Okay. And then we're going to be adding some lemon juice that's going to help with the leavening. But baking powder is baking soda is stronger than baking powder. When in the leavening process, it's probably equal to 1 teaspoon of the baking powder is equal to a quarter of the baking soda. I just don't want 2 teaspoons in here, so I'm switching it up. All right, so a half a cup of the applesauce will get in there too. So let's get the spices in here while that is settling. And this is my ground pumpkin seed. So how do I use this? I put it on top of salads. In my reels, the second one that I did, which was the pear apple slaw. Oh my God, ridiculous, amazing, with fresh parsley and fresh dill. Put on your ground pumpkin seeds on top with that lemon tahini ginger garlic dressing, creamy dressing on top. So delicious and so good for your gut, right? So amazing. So here we go. There's a nice quarter cup. I'll determine how much more I want. I'm going to add another, I mean, that's two tablespoons. Here's another 2 tablespoons of flax. Depending on, this is a brand new recipe, so I might add a little bit more flax depending on how I feel it is working out. So because these bananas are not that ripe, they're not going to be all mushy. So I'm adding the milk to it just to help break them down. Okay, so let's get this on here and get this. Get that. That's pretty much it. We want to whip up the bananas. So now we have a creamy base, no oil, no eggs, no refined sugars are added to this. And so I made these with coconut of sugar and coconut oil first. And then I compared them, and I love the way my body feels with the clean, high fiber, nothing else added. So I did test these. I tested them with my client, and they love them. The one thing they requested is to keep the chocolate chips in there. So we'll keep the chocolate chips in there, which is fantastic. And we will get the spices in there next up. This is where you need your little spatula. So just scoop the sides down here. This is the small cup for the NutriBullet RX. I make a lot of my vegan cheesecakes in here. The power of this is great. And because the blade comes off, it makes it easier to scoop things out. So I do like this blender, and I have 2 of them, but I use it all the time. All the time. I've had probably 4 of them. Just like my KitchenAid 7-cup wide base food processor. All right, we've scooped it out. We will rinse this out. I'll do it after. Usually I keep everything clean. Let's just give this a little toss, and we're going to get the applesauce in here. So applesauce in a lot of recipes replaces your oil. And this one, it's going to give it a little bit more moisture. So we might need a little bit more flax, but I love adding it in. It keeps it in line with the, putting in a half a cup, with the carrot cake type of feel and flavors. Okay, and we need this quarter cup measure because that's how we scoop it into the muffin cups. So we're going to give this a little toss, which is great. All right, the lemon, we need a teaspoon of lemon. This is fresh squeezed lemon. We're getting that in. And next up, let's get all the delicious spices in there. All right, so I chose not just Ceylon cinnamon, but nutmeg and cardamom and ginger. Let's get this really interesting with beautiful flavors. The Ceylon cinnamon, I want 1.5 teaspoons. I love my extra cinnamon there. You will too. If you want to put in 2 teaspoons, you're going to be fine. Cardamom, bright, fantastic combination with nutmeg and cinnamon. A full heaping, quarter teaspoon. If you want to adjust these and just put in cinnamon, that's fine. Totally up to you. But you're going to like this with some really interesting flavor here. You want it to be unique and ginger, fresh ginger. These are the Simply Organic brand. When they're on sale, get them, refresh your spices during the spring, especially. You'll be happy that you did. Everything is fresh. Okay, let's get those to the side. We'll give this a nice little mix. We've got all the spices in here. We've got the applesauce. I am going to add a little bit more flax. So now we're up to a quarter cup plus 2 tablespoons. So flaxseed, that's giving you great fiber, omega-3s, fantastic amounts of natural good amino acid proteins. All right, now the next thing we're going to get in the carrots. So much fiber these are going to have. So amazing. All right, so let me know. This is smelling incredible. You're going to love this. Now, can you turn this into a cake? Of course you can. A double layer cake. All right, but what are you going to frost it with, right? Because cream cheese frosting with a lot of butter. I used to make it butter and vanilla and confectioner sugar. So sweet. You're going to jack your insulin out of the sky. So it's much better. You can make a little topping, maybe with a cashew, like a cashew butter with some maple syrup. You can do a crumble on top of here with an almond flour, some crushed up nuts, a little bit of coconut sugar. Okay, so now this is looking great. Here's your dough. Let's get in. I have got a generous half cup. If you want to put in 3/4 cup of raisins, you can. And a half cup of unsweetened raw coconut. This is not going to taste like coconut, but it's going to give it more fiber, more texture. Look how gorgeous this looks. Please get excited about this. And now you're ready to get this into your muffin cups. This is a 1-bowl, super easy recipe. We are done. All right, I'm going to tidy up. We're going to get them into the muffin cups and get them into the oven. If you're having fun, give me a great thumbs up. And I need to pause this. I keep having problems. Okay, I got it. Everything is cleaned up. Remember, when you're organized, you feel relaxed. Now we can focus on just getting these beautiful muffins. They sat for a few minutes, so the flaxseed has started to absorb the moisture. Now, this is what I'm going to add into. These are Pasha 100% raw cacao, super clean chips because of pop of chocolate. Chocolate is everywhere, every single holiday, and it's some of the worst high heavy metal filled with lecithins, filled with sugar. We don't need one more sugar treat, but we do need some dopamine every single day. So and if you're craving a lot of chocolate, could be you are very low in magnesium, which is very possible. Make sure you're taking magnesium glycinate. Very, very good for added anxiety. You might want to take some citrate before you go to sleep, but magnesium is so important. And one of the signs that you're low is that you're craving chocolate because it's very high in magnesium, especially the raw chocolate. So, and that really is the only great chocolate for you. Okay, so here's our pan. Very, very simple. You take a quarter cup and you're going to fill these. So no mess. You get it in one shot here. And because we've added plenty of carrots, plenty of the raw coconut. We've got so much texture in here. And these should be fantastic. I'm going to see if I can whip up a topping alternative, because for Easter, you probably want to dress these up a little bit. Not necessarily, but, you know, on your brunch table. But think about what most people have for brunch. You're talking French toast, you're talking pancakes, you're talking, obviously, you want to have real maple syrup, but this is a lot of refined carbs for the body. It's a very high toll that you're taking in your metabolic system. Yeah, so this is good. I've made a little extra here. So you're definitely going to get a full 12, and then I'm going to fill up a couple extra ones here. The oven is on 375. If your oven runs a little bit hot, you could do it a little bit lower. Most sweet breads are done at 350, but I've been cooking these at 375. So I think that oven might be a little bit lower. So we're going to get the rest in here. Yeah, so you'll get 12 to 14 muffins. And it's so nice to know that you have an alternative that is just packed full of yumminess. Now, if you do want to add something else to these, you could definitely add a half cup of chopped up pineapple. So that's going to give you extra natural sweetness. That way you don't need the refined sugar or even the coconut sugar. You're not going to miss it. If you're really feeling these need to be a little bit sweeter, the only thing I would add is no more than 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Okay, we've got these ready. I'm going to get them into the oven. We'll be back in 24 minutes when they're ready to come out. So if you're enjoying being here, give me a thumbs up. I hope you guys are having an amazing start to your spring and you're out there riding your bike and eating more greens and raw food and just feeling so energized. Hey there. So I created something just when we were off. I'm waiting for those to cook. I'm getting ready to do a celery juicing, but I wanted to create a topping for this special for Easter. These muffins don't need a topping, but if you're serving them like a cupcake with a little shredded carrots on top, I'm going to show you how to make a topping. So I like Coco June as a brand. Not with the added, they have some that have protein, they've got added stuff in there, and those don't taste that good at all. But this lemon elderflower is a favorite of mine to turn into a sauce. So this is 4 ounces, that's a half a cup. I added a half a cup of the Artisana raw cashew butter. I do love this brand, super high quality. If it's on sale, you want to try it. You do a taste test, you'll know the quality is there. It's fantastic. And then 1 tablespoon of pure Vermont maple syrup, and you whip it up in a little blender like this. Top it with a little bit of, look what we have here. This is an amazing topping. So I'm going to add this to jelly jars, and then we'll top the cooled muffins when they're ready. But this is something really quick, and I just wanted to share that with you because having a fun topping, getting creative in the kitchen is fun. This is what it's about, and then editing as you go. So this came out great, and I think you'll really like it. We'll be back. Okay, guys, I just took these out of the oven. They look fantastic, right? They rose up just enough. They smell incredible. I took 3 of them that were in the other container and put them into the freezer so they'll cool off, so I can show you how to top them with the topping. These have got to cool. I'm just going to pop them out of the silicone, which is really easy. I just put them onto paper towels. There's no oil in here, so you're not going to have all that greasiness that most muffins do. We will be back. Aren't you excited? These are just fantastic, loaded with super nutrients, lots of fiber, lots of deliciousness. Okay, guys, are you ready to wrap this up? In the time that it took to cook these and cool, I made over $60 in fresh juice here. I do keep my protocols of celery, dandelion, and cucumber juice going on a regular basis. It really helps liver, kidney, bladder, digestive process, the whole 9 yards. More on that at another time. So we're going to decorate these with that really fresh, brand new recipe I created right here with the Coco June coconut yogurt, lemon yogurt, mixed with a half a cup of the Artisana brand, the creamy cashew butter, and just 1 tablespoon of pure Vermont maple syrup. So we're just going to put a topping. So this is a barely couple teaspoons here. Just put it like right in the middle. You don't want to cover the whole top. If you have some fresh shredded carrots, you can add that. That color will be wonderful. It will run on its own. Or you can put a little bit of nutmeg on top, which is great. Fresh ground nutmeg is even better. You can buy it. I've seen it at Fresh Market. You can get anything online. Okay, so here we are. Vegan, super clean carrot cake muffins. No oil, no added flour, no added sugar, no eggs. Delicious, moist, incredible, filled with so much fiber and deliciousness. Pops of sweet, just what you want. I even threw in some chocolate chips. So I hope you love this recipe, and happy Easter to everyone. Happy Passover. It's a beautiful time of year where courage and initiation is key, and you need energy to do that. And that's what the universe wants to give you. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in today at KK's Big Kitchen. Bye now.